things are yet to be done in this city. That's what he meant when he said, greater things shall ye do, because I go to the Father. Amen. Chris Tomlin. And you know what's so awesome? I thought that was his song. And then I found out this morning that he was in a city, and the opening act sung that song. And he was getting prepared to come on stage. And his folks said, "Oh man, you've got to leave the dressing room. You've got to hear this song." And he got the permission to sing the song. The God of this city. He's the God of our city, amen? I'm just going to touch on, now is the time. This is something, again, as you notice, we all are touching on something that Apostle brought forth last week. And she said, now is the time to be still and listen. Now is what? Now is the time to be still and listen. And Prophetess Deborah touched on this. She's not talking about listening with your natural ear. You know, I was just thinking, if I'm looking at a movie and I got the volume all the way up, and I see Apostle call on my caller ID, what would I do in that room? I'd probably mute the television, right? So now is the time to mute all the noise. All the noise in our soul. So that we can hear with our spiritual ear. So now is the time to be still and listen. That's not talking about our physical man. Now is the time for our soul to be still. And so that we can listen with our spiritual ear. Is everyone with me? I'm going to go from the beginning of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 to the very end. I'm going line by line. And I'm coming from the message. So let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6. And when I get to the last verse, I'm going to take my seat. I'm not going to skip one verse. Line by line. 2 Corinthians chapter 6, and I'm coming from the message. Because I believe this chapter sort of captures everything that was said today, everything that was said last week. And as we are getting ready to come out of the fast, it's going to give us some instructions. It's going to give us some instructions going into Tuesday at the Pierce's house to end prayer. It's going to give us some instructions to go into cell group. And it's going to give us some instructions, I believe, to look internally. Greater things are yet to come. I love that chorus. Greater things are yet to be done in this city. Is everyone there? And if you, who needs a message? This is my message Bible. I don't need it. I have it written. Someone need a message? Okay. That was a gift from Deacon Lester to me. Amen. 2 Corinthians chapter 6. It says, companions, as we are in this work with you. This is Paul speaking to the church of Corinth. He says, companions, as we are in this work with you, we beg you. My God. Paul saying, we beg you. Please don't do what? Squander one bit of this marvelous life God has given you. This abundant life. That word squander, isn't that familiar? That's the same word we heard with the prodigal son. He squandered his life. So Paul is saying, I beg you, please don't squander one bit of this marvelous life God has given you. God reminds us. And this is what he's reminding us. He says, I heard your call in the nick of time. God is saying that. I've heard your call in the nick of time. The day you needed me, I was there to help. I heard your call in the nick of time. The day you needed me, I was there. I reached out to you. I called out to you. But did you hear me? Or is the reason that you didn't hear me is because there was so much noise and you didn't press the mute button? I heard your call in the nick of time. So don't think that the Lord didn't come. The day you needed me, I was there. Well, now is the right time to listen. It's not just the time, it's the right time. That sounds like a commercial. Where did I hear that from? Now it's the right time. Now is the right time to do what? To listen. The day to be helped. So let's break that up. Now is the time. This is that. What is that? The day to be helped. Now is the time. The time for what? The time to listen. Paul goes on to say, don't put it off. To put off is to suspend. Don't put it off. Don't put it off for a later time. It's like my wife will give me a project around the house, and I'll get to it. No. In her mind, it's like, no, I want it now. In her mind is, now is the time. And I'm going to put it off. Is everyone with me? Paul said, don't put it off. Look at what follows that. Don't frustrate God's work by showing up late. Don't frustrate God's work by showing up late. Well, what's showing up late? Well, Prophetess Deborah touched on that. In other words, don't choose death. Because if you choose death, you're going to show up late. You're not going to show up now. You're going to show up weeks, months from now when you finally get it. When you submit yourself to counsel. Because you could have gotten it now. But you choose to show up late because you chose death instead of life. Don't frustrate God's work by showing up late, oh my Lord, no, he didn't say that. Throwing a question mark over everything we're doing. God says, do this. Pastor Joe touched on that, and that was the L word, logic. Because you, with your smart self, think that this doesn't line up. Logically, it doesn't make sense, so you come up with questions. And God is saying, no, now is the time. Now, I'm not saying it's not logical.